Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're digging into some major AI failures to pull out the crucial lessons for leaders like you. We're going to go way beyond the headlines to understand why savvy investors and potential partners are looking right past the marketing fluff and what they're really looking for.
All right, before we dive in, just a quick heads up. This is part 7 of a deep dive based on a comprehensive report from Virtualization Options LLC. And of course, this is all for informational purposes. Okay, let's get right to it. So first up, the true cost of failure. To really get why investors are so intense in their due diligence, you first have to appreciate the absolutely catastrophic cost of getting AI governance wrong. And I'm not just talking about the initial fine you see on the news. And wow, this really puts it in perspective, doesn't it? Those direct costs, the fines, the immediate penalties, that's just the tip of the iceberg. The real damage, the total impact, that includes the hit to your reputation, lost deals, new regulations slapped on you, even having to kill entire projects. That total impact is often 3, 4, even 5 times bigger. This right here, this is the kind of massive risk that keeps serious stakeholders awake at night. Okay, let's get into our first case study. This is a classic example of how an organization's own past can poison its future, leading to some very public and very painful strategic setbacks. So, picture this. A huge e-commerce company decides to build a game-changing AI recruiting tool. The dream, right? To sift through thousands of resumes faster and, most importantly, more objectively than any human ever could. What could possibly go wrong? Well, the whole project fell apart because of its data. See, they trained the model on a decade's worth of their own hiring data, which, surprise, reflected a decade's worth of real-world industry bias against women. The AI didn't just learn this bias, it amplified it, supercharged it. It started penalizing resumes that mentioned things like women's college. They tried to patch it, but the bias was baked so deep into its core that in the end, they had to scrap the entire thing. Now here's the kicker, and this is so important. This was completely preventable. The warning signs were flashing bright red. Using historical data without checking for bias, not doing real fairness testing, the solutions you see here, auditing your data before you start, mandating fairness tests, getting an independent ethics review, this isn't some futuristic ideal. This is now considered standard practice in any serious due diligence process. All right, on to our next case. This one shows the absolutely massive financial fallout that happens when an algorithm is built to chase profits and, in doing so, ends up causing widespread illegal discrimination. This time, we're talking about a major financial services firm. And like a lot of companies, they started using algorithms to automate huge decisions. In this case, who gets a mortgage and at what rate? The goal was pretty simple: be more efficient and more profitable. But the oversight? Well, it was basically non-existent. And the outcome? Absolutely staggering. A $3.7 billion settlement. That's billing with a B. Regulators discovered that the automated system was systematically denying qualified minority applicants or just jacking up their rates. It was basically perpetuating historical bias at machine scale, 24/7. So the big question is, how do you prevent something like this? It's not just one thing. It's about having layers of defense. It means doing things like mandatory impact assessments, making fairness a key metric right alongside profitability, and demanding regular independent audits. But look at that last point, C-suite accountability. This stuff has to be owned at the very top. It's a powerful lesson that if profit is your only goal, you're setting yourself up for an epic failure. Our final case today is a tough one. It's a tragic and sobering reminder that when a company's culture pushes for speed above all else, the consequences aren't just financial. They can be irreversible and deeply human. This story comes from the high-stakes world of autonomous vehicles. A developer was pushing incredibly hard to test its self-driving cars on public roads, trying to keep pace in a fiercely competitive market. And that pressure created a culture where safety just wasn't the top priority. What the federal investigation uncovered was just a horrifying cascade of failures. 6 seconds before impact, the car's AI actually detected the pedestrian, but it couldn't classify her, so it just hesitated. Then you find out that the automatic emergency braking system was intentionally disabled by the engineers to make the ride feel smoother. That left everything to the human safety driver, who was streaming a TV show on their phone at the moment of impact. When all was said and done, the conclusion was clear. This wasn't one mistake.
It was a complete and total systemic breakdown. The technology failed, the testing protocols failed, the company culture failed, and the governance that was supposed to prevent all of this, it was just for show. Every single layer of the safety net had a massive hole in it. So when you take these three very different disasters, a recruiting tool, a lending algorithm, a self-driving car, and you step back, you start connecting the dots. A very clear pattern of common warning signs emerges. And these are the exact red flags that sophisticated stakeholders are actively hunting for today.
And here they are. These are the critical takeaways. It's that speed over safety mindset. It's governance theater, where you have policies on paper that have no real teeth. It's when technical teams raise the alarm and leadership ignores them. It's inadequate testing that only looks at the happy path. And finally, it's deploying systems and then just failing to monitor them in the real world. These are the fault lines where AI initiatives crack and expose the entire organization to huge risk.
This quote from the source report just nails the shift in thinking that has to happen. See, the goal isn't to build an AI that's perfect, because that's impossible. They will all run into challenges. The real question is whether your organization is built to handle it. Do you have the framework to spot problems fast, respond to them openly, fix them effectively, and actually learn from them? And that brings us to the final crucial question that you should be asking inside your own organization. Is your AI governance a real safety net, or is it just theater? Because as these cases make painfully clear, the people who are paying close attention can always, always tell the difference. Thanks for joining this explainer.